Thank you. I'd like to thank T.J. Rennie, the Democratic Party chair. He and Governor Rendell have been with me most of the day, but the governor reminded me to tell you that he has a day job for you, so he couldn't work all day long with me, and thanks to T.J. for coming along. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very glad to be here on behalf of my candidate for president, and I think that most Americans think they're already in a recession. You agree with that? Why? You know what the economic definition of a recession is? 2 straight quarters or 6 months in a row of negative economic growth. Most families have had way more than that. They've had flat incomes and rising costs, so they have negative economic situation. They're out of money at the end of every month. Isn't that right? Yeah. Okay, now, why did that happen? That happened because of trickle-down economics, because we went back to a failed economic theory for the last 7 years. And in the last 7 years, 90% of the economic benefits have gone to the top 10% of earners. About half of that to the top 1%, a big chunk of that to the top 1/10 of 1%. That is not America. This is a middle-class country. Unless the middle class is healthy and thriving and growing and its children can look forward to going to college and building their own lives, this country's in trouble. You cannot have a country that operates where 10% of the people get 90% of the benefits. And if you vote for Hillary, she's got a strategy to turn that right around.
Up there, some of them couldn't afford the trip, but they went anyway. And they had this little brochure they wrote up about all the changes Hillary had made in their lives, and she had lived in Arkansas for 15 years. She got 70% of the vote in the Democratic primary there, and in the most recent poll, she was 15 points ahead of Senator McCain, and her opponent was 16 points behind him, in a state we've only won 3 times since 1964. She'll win that state because they know her, and they know she's making changes in people's lives. That's her life. And you've got farmers from upstate New York went all over the country, and once they convinced people there really were farmers in New York, they did a lot of good for her because of all the stuff she'd done in rural development. And when she ran for re-election in New York, and almost 2/3 of our counties are Republican counties. President Bush carried 40 of our 62 counties against John Kerry. She got 60% of the vote in those counties. Why? Because she's a change maker. One old crusty Republican I was up there campaigning for, I said, "You gonna vote for Hillary?" He said, "Well, I never thought I would, but I guess I'll have to." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because she's the only one who ever did anything for us." He said, "These other politicians are so nice. They come to town, they give a nice talk, and we take a little picture. They couldn't be nicer, but then they leave and nothing ever happens. She comes to town, we sit down, we have a meeting, she listens to us, we come up with a plan. She always does what she says she's going to do." And he said, "You know something? About half the time, something really good happens. I guess I'll have to vote for her." That's what you want a president for, to make something really good happen.